Hey guys, Carl from Purple Moose Plays. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Shelfie Stacker, a dice drafting spatial puzzler of a game themed around building a board game collection, all the while avoiding the eventual spillover onto the so-called Shelf of Shame. This game comes from new publisher Arkus Games out of New Zealand and veteran designer Shem Phillips, a name you might recognize from his North Sea and West Kingdom series of games. This game actually contains two solo modes in the box, a beat your own score solo mode and a solo mode against an AI called the Shembot. I will be doing a playthrough of both of these in this video before letting you know what I think about the game. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but as always I will do my best to show my true feelings on the game and let you know exactly how it plays and what I think about how the game plays. With all that being said, let's head down to the table for those two playthroughs, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a game of Shelfie Stacker in the Beat Your Own Score solo mode, begin by placing 12 of each colored die into this mailbag. That's orange, blue, pink, and green. Next, set out 3 delivery boxes. Then choose a big shelf in your preferred player color with its associated Shelf of Shame, and this sort of scoring guide card should be placed next to it. You're then going to choose 8 character cards from the box. I've gone ahead and just taken the first 8. There are 16 in the box, but you can choose to take any cards that you'd like to use for that particular play. Once you've done that, however, you need to take a second player's color's cards and choose out the exact same 8 cards in that other player color here, and then make sure that those are well shuffled before play. Finally, you need to set up the bonus scoring objectives for the game. And in the Beat Your Own Score solo mode, you're not going to be using either the Shelfie Sidekick or First Acclaim cards, so you can set those off to the side. All you will be using are these end of game bonus scoring cards. And in a normal game, you'd be using one of these, but in the Beat Your Own Score solo game, you're actually going to be using 2 instead. So let's go ahead and choose out or select out 2 of those. The first one we're going to be using this game says, for each completely filled column, we're going to be scoring 3 points. Now this is interesting because you already score for a completely filled column, and I'll explain that in a minute, but this is going to give us an additional 3 points for columns. So we really want to try and fill columns in this game. All right, let's take another one. All right, this one is going to be scoring me 6 points if I have 8 or more dice of a single color on my shelf. So I really want to focus on a specific color when possible. So now we're all set up for the game. Shelfie Stacker is going to play out over 7 rounds. We have 8 cards in our hand. Each round we will be playing one of these cards, and there will be 1 card left at the end of the game. I'm going to go ahead and set up for the first round, and then I'll explain how the game plays. To set up a round, we're going to begin by drawing 3 dice for each of these 3 delivery boxes. Now the instructions suggest that because these dice are already randomized in my hand, pulling them out of the bag, there's really no need to roll them, but I disagree because they are dice and I feel weird not rolling them, so I'm going to roll all the dice and place them out. All right, now that we're all set up for the first round, let me explain how the game works. The main goal, the main objective of Shelfie Stacker is to draft dice to fill up this big shelf. And we're going to be scoring points based on how we fill this shelf. You can see here for every column that's filled to the top, we will get 6 points. Remembering now that one of my bonus points this game is an additional 3 points for each of those columns. For any column that ends in the second highest block, we'll score 3 points. And then 1 point for anything that ends in this next row. We then score the number of points equal to the number of pips showing on the highest placed die in each column. And then finally, we will score for our bonus cards. In addition, anything during the game that cannot be placed onto our main shelf will be placed on the Shelf of Shame. And anything on this Shelf of Shame will score -2 points per die at the end of the game. Now, of course, there are some restrictions about how the dice can be placed in your shelf. Each column of your shelf may only contain dice of 1 color. So if I start this column with a green die, all of the dice in that column must be green. In addition, when you're placing a die, you can never place a die that is the same value or lower than a die that is already there. Means, as I move up a column, we have to move higher in value. It doesn't need to be successive. I could put a 3 above a 1 or a 4 above a 1, but I can never put a 2 on a 2 or a 2 on a 3 or something like that. The last remaining piece to explain is how we draft the dice, and that's the main chunk of the gameplay in this game, and that's all driven by these character cards. There are two main things on these character cards. There's a number up here in the top corner, and then there's an ability down here at the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of these 8 cards to play, and I'm going to take a look at that number in the top left corner. And then we're going to flip over the top card of this green deck down here, and we're going to look at the same number. And whichever number is lower will have the first initiative in the round. So we want to have low numbers to choose first. So if I have the lower number, I'm going to choose first. And if this deck has the lower number, it's going to remove one of these boxes from the game. Even if this deck goes second, it's still removing one box from the game because whichever box is not taken by me and is not removed by this deck will go back into the bag for the following round. In addition, you can see down here in the bottom corner of the card, there's a letter and some numbers. This letter is used if we both have the same initiative number. So if I have a 1 and this deck shows a 1, then we'll go by this letter, and whichever letter is closer to A will be first in initiative. These numbers here in these gray boxes in the corner are the priority order that the green deck is going to take. So for example, if this had been the card that the green deck showed, it would try to take the left box first, and if that wasn't there, it would then take the middle box instead. The last important piece of information, and very, very important information, is this action or this ability in the bottom left corner of the card. Every card has a unique ability, and these abilities are going to be activated when I play a said card. When I say activated, that doesn't mean, however, that you have to use the ability on the turn that it's played. Once I've played this card stays face up until I decide in a later turn that I want to activate the card. It could be the turn that I played it, or it could be any future turn in the game. So you may want to play a card with a low value to take a die, a specific die, or a specific box that you're looking to take, or you may want to play a card for that power. But if you're playing the card for the number and you don't want to use that ability, that's not a problem. You can save it for later in the game. So with that, you should now understand how to play the game. Let me quickly go through the different abilities that I have in my 8 cards, and then we'll go ahead and get into the gameplay. This first card, Bad Lender, says I can store 1 die from my box on this case, and then I can return it to my box at any time. So basically this lets me hold the die from one round and use it on a different round. Card number 2, Neat Freak, says I can return 1 die from my shelf, the big shelf, to the box for this round only. So that means, say for example, I played a 2 in a previous round, and then I draft a 1. I can place the 2 back on the box, play the 1, and then play the 2 again. So it lets me sort of rearrange things. But it can only stay on the box for the round that you've activated the card. This card, Upgrade Addict, allows me to increase the value of 1 die either in my box or on my big shelf by 1. The Regifter lets me pull a die from my shelf of shame or the big shelf and discard it here. So we can remove a die that's giving us problems that isn't helping us in any way. Problem is that then doesn't score us anything at the end of the game. So I don't want to use that unless I'm in trouble. Number 5, the Cat, is the same thing as the one we saw before, but this time we can decrease the value of 1 die in my box or my shelf. Number 6, the Bargain Hunter, lets me flip 1 die to the opposite side. So a 1 becomes a 6, a 2 becomes a 5, and a 3 becomes a 4, and vice versa. Number 7, the Monochromist, lets me place a die of a different color on the wrong color column, basically. So if I want to put a pink die in the blue column, that's fine. However, when we're looking at, say for example, this card that scores for 8 dice of the same color, that die is not permanently changed to the color. It only lets me ignore that rule when placing it in my shelf. And finally, card number 8, the Shelfie Snapper. This just lets me reuse the ability of something that I've already used before. All right, so now that we know what we've got and we know what we're trying to do, let's take a look at the dice. Here I've got a pink 4, a blue 6, and an orange 3. One more thing that I just realized I'd forgotten to mention, any die that is a 6, either naturally a 6 or manipulated to a 6 by my cards, is wild, and I can instantly change that die to any die face that I'd like. So that's wild. 3 yellow and 4 orange. Nope. 3 orange, and 4 pink. Next, I've got a 1 orange, a wild orange, and a wild green. That's really good because those could all be super low numbers to get placed in there. And over here, I've got a 2 blue, a wild orange, and a 4 pink, which isn't great. So I would really love to have this main box. Yes, I would love to have that main box so much that I don't care what abilities I have right now. I'm going to play my number 1. Hope that he doesn't have a 1A or B that comes up at the same time, and let's see what happens. I'll turn over this. It's a 6. I go first. So I am going to draft this box. I will place the 1 orange. I'm going to manipulate this 6 into a 2 orange, and I will change this green into a 1 green. And now remember, we're trying to get 8 or more dice of a single color, so I've already got 2 orange. It might not be a bad idea to focus on orange for the rest of the game. The opponent has this 1 blank 2, so it wants to take the leftmost box, and it can. So these dice are removed from the game. These dice go back into the bag, and we're ready for the next round. All right, first thing I notice is there's not a whole lot of orange, but that's okay. I got a 1 blue, a 5 pink, and a 4 orange. I got a 3 green, and then a 2 and a 3 in that pinkish purple color. And then we've got a 2 purple and 2 5 greens. I don't like any of these too much. This 2 3 3 is not bad. They're all pretty low. And if I could manipulate that green down 1, yeah, maybe. Let's see. What's the one that gets mine down 1? The cat is a level 5 out of 8 cards that would let me adjust 1 down. Realistically, this box isn't bad either. Yeah, it is. Well, I'm going to risk it anyway. I'm going to play this 5 because I can always store one of those dice for later using my number 1 card. I'm going to play that 5 and see what happens here. 4. All right, so they're drafting first, and what do you know? They're going to take that middle box. So those are out of the game. But at least now I get my orange die if I draft that one. Yes, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use both abilities. I'm going to take that blue and put it here. I'm going to use the cat ability by flipping the card to decrease the value of 1 die. Means this 4 becomes a 3. Just gives me more options later. And then I'm going to use this bad lender card to store that pink 5 or purple 5 because I don't want to use it on my shelf right now. But I can pull it back out later in the game. These go back into the bag, and we set up the next round. All right, now, that 4 pink is still kind of annoying, but a 5 and a 6 for orange would be great because I can put the 5 and a 6 there. That gets me a full column, and I score a 6 for the highest die on that column. That's not bad to have. Now, this one over here would be nice because that pink or purple is less than this one over here. And if I had a die that lets me flip this 2, I can flip the 2 to a 5 and it would be the same as that. So that wouldn't be bad to have either. I don't like this. But remembering, this is actually not that bad. If I can find a way to manipulate this blue 5. For example, if I made that go up 1 higher, that could go to a 6 and I could make it whatever I want. We could start another blue column, and that 4 orange would go there. So realistically, I don't see anything that's horrible. And actually that 5 flipped over would be a 2, and I wouldn't mind flipping something over there. So let me take that card that lets me flip a die. It's a high number, but that's fine because any of these will work for me. If I get to choose first, that's great, and then I don't have to use my power. But if I don't, or if he chooses first and picks one that I don't need, that's great too. So let's just see what happens. 1. All right, they're picking first. they're going to pick the leftmost box, which of course was the one that helped me immensely, but that's okay. We'll take, I don't really care about pink right now. But that gets me 2 orange instead of 1 orange. Yeah, let's do that. All right, I'm going to take this set. I don't like that we're starting with a 3, but that's okay. All right, then we're going to flip 1 to the opposite side. So I'm going to flip this 2 to the 5. Put the 5 there, put the 6 there. I'm already now at 5 orange dice. I need 8 for that extra bonus. And then I'll just put this 3 in another column. We can always put that 5 in here. If we got a 4 before that, that would be even better. I'm going to move this out of the way since we've already used it. And we will put these back in and take another round. All right, so let's see what we've got. We've got a 4, 6 in green, and a 6 in purple. I got a 2, 3 in green and a 4 in blue, which is interestingly not bad. I got a 2, 3 in purple and a 3 blue. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't mind either of these two. Yeah. If I take this one, I want to manipulate that 4 in some way, because I don't want this to end so quickly. And if I take this one, I want to manipulate that 4 in some way. So let's see what I've got that can make my 4 be better. Yeah, let's aim for this 2, 3, 4 there. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to aim for either of these, but I'm going to put this, change the color of a die, because then I can place this 4 somewhere else if I need to, or I can place this 4 somewhere else if I need to. So let's do that and see what happens. All right, he's got a 2. He's taking the rightmost box, which I didn't want anyway. So that's great. Now, you know what? I'm going to take this and not use my power, I think. If I change this 6 to a 2 or a 3, it doesn't matter. And then I can put this 4 here. I can still hope for a 5 and a 6 in green, and not rushing it would be a good thing. And then I'm going to take this pink or purple and change it to a 4. And we will now return that there. So now I've got that 3, 4, 5 purple, and I didn't have to use my powers at all. That goes back in. And the next round. All right, we need to start getting some oranges. We only have 3 rounds left, including this round. But that center one doesn't really look like it's going to help me too much. But neither do the other 2. So I want to aim for that center box. I can remove something from my shelf for this round, but I don't want to do that. I can upgrade the value of a die. Yeah, that would actually be not bad. I could change the green to a 5. Sorry, this card is gone because I just used it. I can change the green to a 5 and put it there. That works if I use this. The orange, I can start a new column because I need to hit 8 of them anyway. The only thing left then that's a bother is this blue 4. But I have the ability later, if I want to return something from my shelf back to my box to play again. So maybe that will work. So let's play this 3, hoping that he doesn't play low. And actually, he can't because he's already played 1, 2. 3 is the only one that could come out, and it doesn't. It's an 8. So I'm going to take, which ones did I say? Yeah, that set. I will place the orange one here where it's 6. We still need 8. I'm going to use this card to upgrade the green 4 to a 5. And then we're going to place this blue 4. It might come off later. We'll see what happens. And he's taking the rightmost box. So those are gone. These go back in. Lots of 1s. I'm not sure I'm happy with that. Come on, some orange with big numbers. Nope, no orange. And not so big numbers. All right, so 5 green, blue, 6, 1. I don't like it. I really don't like the middle one. I need this box. But that blue 1 is a problem. I could put the 5 out here, but then that remove and replace is not going to be helpful this time. I could, I've got one that I can reuse anything. Ah, yeah. That one becomes a 6. It's going to kill that column, but that's fine because we only have one more round after this anyway, which means I really hope I get 2 orange in the last round, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to use this 8 because I want to be able to reuse the one from before that let me, this one here, the bargain hunter that let me flip a die to the other side. And just pray that he doesn't take the one that I want, which is this third box. He gets a 5, and we're lucky. They're taking the middle box is gone. I don't particularly care. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to flip that 8 or lose that 8 to turn this one into a 6. Means this blue 5 goes here, and the blue 6 goes there, and the purple 6 goes there. So the only things left that I can place is a green 6 and anything orange. But we'll see what comes out. I suspect something's going into my Shelf of Shame for this last round, but we'll see. All right, so it looks like there's no way for me to get the 8th orange, but that's fine. You'll see in the other cards when my next playthrough that there is one that lets me swap dice between boxes, and that would have been really nice to have right now. But I don't have that, but that's okay. I can return a die from my Shelf of Shame and discard it, or I can return something from my shelf to this card and back again. That's not going to help me. But this 2 will get placed no problem, and this 6 will get placed no problem. The only problem is this blue. So if I have this regifter, I can remove something from my Shelf of Shame. Ah, no, I don't need to, because I can use this to place that blue 3 as an orange. So let me play my lowest just to make sure I get the dice that I want. Flipping this one, he's got a 3. I go first, so I'm going to take these dice. No, I'm not. Why did I say that? I'm going to take these dice. We're going to place that 2 orange there, that 6 there, and then we'll use the monochromist to place this as an orange 3 right there. And then finally from his card, it doesn't really matter at this point because it's the end of the game, he will take those out of the game. All right, so then we get into scoring. First we start by 6 points for each column that reached the top of the shelf. So we've got 2 for 12. Then we're going to score 3 for any column that ended 1 from the top. We've got 2 of those as well, so that's 6 points. And finally, 1 point for everything that's reached the third row. We've got 1 of those, so that's 1 point. We now score the pips on the highest die in each column, which is a 6, and 6 is 12, and 6 is 18, and 6 is 24, plus 3 is 27. And then we look at the 2 bonus end of game scoring cards. The first one gives us an additional 3 points for each column. We've got 2 of those, which is 6. And the other one gives us 6 points if we have 8 of any one color. Unfortunately, we were only able to get 7 orange dice, so we were not able to score that one. And then finally, minus 2 points for everything in our Shelf of Shame, but we don't have anything in the Shelf of Shame. So that means we've got 12 and 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19, plus 27 is 29, 39, 46, and 6 gives me a final score of 52. Let's do that opposite way just to make sure it works. 6 and 27 is 33, and 1 is 34, and 6 is 40, plus 12 is 52. So now with the Beat Your Own Score solo play, we can look in the book. There's a scoring section at the end of the rules for the solo mode. And it shows us that with 52 points, we've got a rating that says, have you played this before? I feel like you've played this before. And you know what? I have played this before. All right, so let me go ahead and clear up the table, and I'll be right back with the Shembot AI version of the solo mode. All right, so you see the setup for this Shembot version of the solo mode is pretty much the same thing, except now we've got a big shelf and a Shelf of Shame for the AI player as well. I've gone ahead and taken the 9 to 16 cards so I can show you the other abilities. Those same 9 to 16 cards are here and they've been shuffled. All the dice have been placed back in the bag again, 12 dice in each color. Now, because I am playing against a simulated opponent this time, we are going to use all of the bonus scoring cards, and we will only use one end of game card. So let's go ahead and select those. Our end of game scoring bonus this time is for every 3 valued die in my big shelf, I get 3 points. So I want to get a lot of 3s this game. The Shelfie Sidekick card. This one's going to score me 5 points for whoever has the most blue dice at any time. So as soon as one of us gets 3 blue dice, we'll take this card. And then as soon as somebody else gets a higher number, not the same number, but a higher number of blue dice, they'll take the card, and we'll battle over it until the end of the game. Whoever has the most will get 5 points. And finally, we've got this first to claim. Basically, it's exactly what it says. Whoever gets this pattern on their shelf first will claim this card and score 4 points. So the Shembot AI version of this solo mode is going to play out exactly the same way that the Beat Your Own Score game did, except those dice won't be removed from the game any longer. They're going to be placed into the AI's big shelf. And the way that's going to happen is they are always going to fill the leftmost column that they can fill. Assuming that it's possible, they're going to try and aim to get this first to claim. Other than that, they don't care at all about the value of the dice that are being placed. They can place any value of die on top of a previously placed die, but they need to fill a single column of a certain color before they'll start a second column of that same color. And then, of course, if nothing can be placed, it gets placed in the Shelf of Shame. And end of game scoring, they will score exactly the same way we do, but there are 2 different difficulty levels for the AI. The standard level will score exactly the way we do, with no changes whatsoever. But because the values of dice don't matter, sometimes you're going to have very low valued dice at the top of the shelf. So the hard mode of the game, instead of scoring the value on the die placed highest on the shelf, it's going to score the die that has the highest value in each column. So even if there's a 6 down here at the bottom, you would score 6 for that column. I'm going to go ahead and play on hard mode, but I'll show you both the easy and hard mode scoring at the end of the game. So let's go ahead and set up the first round, and then I'll show you the ability cards we have this time. All right, so this time again, we're playing with new cards. I've got the 9, which says Conquestor, which lets me, before choosing a box, I can swap a die with another in a different box. That's the one I was talking about in the last playthrough. That's pretty cool. Number 10, the Dice Chucker. I can re-roll any dice in my box. Number 11, the Math Trader. I can switch the value of any 2 dice in my box. That's pretty cool. Number 12, the Geek. I can move 1 die from my Shelf of Shame back to my big shelf. Number 13, the Squisher. I can place a die of the same value literally on top of a die with the same value. So it's not going to increase the height of a column for scoring, but it will allow me to place a die so it doesn't go on the Shelf of Shame. The Playtester, number 14, says change 1 die in my box or big shelf to any value. That's very, very helpful. Number 15, the Rad Renter, lets me swap a die from my box with 1 drawn from the bag. So I'm going to set aside one of my dice, take a new one from the bag, and then I can set that new die to any value. And then finally, number 16, the Shuffler, lets me raise 1 die up a row to place a die from my box into the empty space. So I can actually shift an entire column up 1 to place a lower number die underneath. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got. I've got a 2 orange, a 5 blue, and a 6 orange. That's not bad except for that 5 blue. 1 green, 3 blue, 4 orange is not great. 3 blue, 5 orange, 6 green is not great either. They're all blues, oranges, and greens though, which is good for this and scares me that he's going to get them. They all have 1 blue, so it doesn't matter here. And I do want 3s. What I think I might do is use the 9 because it's lowest. It lets me swap 2 dice between 2 boxes, assuming he doesn't have a better 9 than me this turn. I can then swap this 5 blue with this 3 blue, gets me a 3, gets me nice dice that I can place. Let's do that. He's got a 16. All right, so I'm going first. I will take this, but I'm going to swap this with this blue. Means I've used that card, it's not there anymore, and I will take those dice. I want to aim for that pattern, so I'm going to put the 3 blue here, a 2 orange here, and I'm going to reset that to a 3 orange. And he's going to take the leftmost die. So he will take those, but they're not there. So instead he's going to take the rightmost, which is this. Again, he doesn't care about the numbers, but he does want to score this. So he will put the blue here, the orange here, and the green there. And that's going to be really bad for my hard mode because that's a 5, 5, 6 right off the bat. But we'll do what we can. These go back in the bag and we reset. Oops. All right. 2 green, 2 orange, 2 purple. Doesn't really help. 2 blue, 3 blue, 4 blue, 4 purple. Not bad. 2 orange, 4 orange, 1 green. If I let him have that, he's going to take this. If I take that, I'm going to take that. But I can't place these dice. He can. That takes a lot of manipulation from me unless I get real lucky with this dice chucker and re-roll everything. That 4 orange and that 1 green are not bad for me to have. And they're getting me closer to that. I can always steal that back later. This 2 is a problem, but let's see if we can do something with it. I can re-roll. I could switch the value of 2 dice, which doesn't help. Move something from shame, I don't have it. I could stack that there, but it seems early for that. Change 1 to anything, it's way too early for that. Move up or down would help with this 2 blue, but that 3 then still hurts me. Yeah, let's do that with the dice chucker and hope we get lucky. He pulls a 15, so I go first. I will take that. I'm going to place that 4. I'm going to place that 1 there. And then I'm going to use the dice chucker, and we'll see. No. That's silly. I'm going to keep that because I can just start another column, and it's not going to hurt me. Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt. Okay, and he is taking this set, which is great. Means he doesn't get the 3. He doesn't get the blues that he needs for this pattern, but he does get the orange and green. He doesn't get the blues for that either. Yeah, great. Okay, so this 2 goes here, this 2 goes here, and this 2 goes here. And that's the end of that round. These go back. Whoops, I missed that, but that's okay. Again, the values don't matter until I've taken a look. All right. 1 green, 3 blue, 3 purple. Not great for me. 4 orange, 2 blue, 5 purple. Not horrible. The last one's pretty bad. I want this, but I'd love to change. Yeah, I could take that, place the 4 orange here and re-roll, or I could just re-roll everything and hope I get lucky. So let's just play. You know what? I need green and blue, not orange. That green's a problem, but I could re-roll it. Yeah, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to play low again. I'm going to play the 11. Which lets me swap values if I need to, which I might. Let's see what he does, and we'll figure it out from there. He's playing the 12, so I do go first. He is taking the center pile. I don't need that. I am taking this. And, yeah. I'm going to re-roll everything and see what happens. All right, I got a 3 purple, a 5 green, and a 2 blue. If I swap the blue and the green using my math trader, so this is a 5 blue, and this is a 2 green. That's not bad. The 2 green goes there, the 5 blue goes there, and my 3 purple goes there. He then takes these dice, blue goes there, orange goes there, purple goes there. And we reset. All right. 2 orange, 3 purple, 4 green. Not great. 3, 5 purples. That is horrible. I need blue and green to hit that pattern, but there isn't a blue. All right, 3 purple. Yeah, I want this. That fits nicely. I want to do something with that purple die. I don't want to move from my shelf. I could squish. I could put that 3 on top of that 3. Change to any value. It seems early. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to play that squisher and we'll deal with it. And he plays the 14. So I get to go again first this round. I'm going to take that. I'm actually going to change this orange 6 to a 5 with the hopes that someday I can place a 6 there because I'd love to finish the column. And this is great. Each 3 value die in my thing scores. So I'm actually going to use that squisher. Now I've got double 3s in that 3 spot, which is great. And then I can place the green 4 right there. He's going to take that, but it's gone, so he will take this one. Orange goes here, pink goes here, green goes there. Ah, wait a minute. I just realized. I have the pattern 2 blue, 2 orange, 3 green, and I placed before he did, so I get that first to score. And now he placed, and that's the round. These go back. Three. 3. All right, 3 blue, 5 purple, 5 green. 5 purple, 5 green's not horrible. 2, 4 purple, and a 3 green. The purple would be nice. The 3 green hurts me, but I like 3s. 3 purple, 1 blue, 5 blue. I don't like that too much. Well, this 3 is the problem. I can lift up something. So I can lift this 4 and put a 3 there. Or I can lift this and put a 1 there. In either case, I don't like one of the values of something. Yeah, I'm going to try for that. Well, let's do this. We're going to do the lifter. Or sorry, the shuffler as it's called. Raise 1 or more dice up a row. That's 16, so it's likely he's going first. Because I think he's already played his 16. Yeah, he goes 10, and he's going to take that middle set. So I can't take that, so we'll see what we can do with the other dice. He's going to place those 2. I'm going to place them oppositely, so I can put the 2 at the top. I'll show you that makes my easy score lower. I am playing on hard mode, so it doesn't matter, but I want to show you how that works. Then I get to choose from the other 2. If I choose this, I could lift the blue and put that in, but that hurts me, and that's no good. This works. I just lose a blue. All right, so let me take these. This is not going to help me right now. 5 green goes here. 3 blue has to go on my shelf of shame, and 5 purple. Whoops. The 5 purple goes there. All right, resetting. 2 more rounds. Not a whole lot of blue coming out. And I'm worried about blue because the only way I can get blue to come out or to give me this is if I start manipulating that a bit. This is not horrible. But I need to figure out something to do with that orange. Yeah. Let me play something low. Move a die from shelf of shame to big shelf. That's not going to help me right now. Change a die to any value. Yeah, that's super important. Let's do that. I'm playing a 14. He plays 11. He goes first, takes this set. Purple can go, hold on. So we've got 3 or 4. I'll play the 4 there, because there's already a 6. Now, only one of these can go in the last row, means one of them goes on the shelf. In that case, we have to score the higher value for him, so that 5 goes there, and the 3 goes on his shelf of shame. And I said I was going to take this, yes, because the blue 6 goes there, getting me my 3rd blue to get me that card. The orange 3 goes there. And then I will use the playtester to change this to a 4. And those go back in. And last round of the game. All right, nothing else. I need to make sure he doesn't get that one. Because if he gets that one, he gets 2 blue, and he will take that card from me. But I also can't use it. In fact, I can't use most of this stuff. All right, I have the shuffler, which would let me put the 4 in here. If I lift that 5 and 6. I can put the 6 there. Which means I get 1 more on the shelf. Shame, but that's the best that I can do right now. Yeah. But I've got the card that lets me, yeah, let me do that. This card lets me pull a die from the bag and set it to any number I want. I don't know that it's going to help, but let's see what happens. And please don't take the middle card. Good. He goes first, but he's taking that card on the right side. Purple goes there. Blue goes there, and green goes on the shelf of shame. Then I am taking that set. I'm going to use the shuffler to raise these up 1 spot. So I can put that 4 in there. I'm going to put the green 6 there, and now I'm going to pull a die and hope if I get an orange or a purple, I'm good. And I get a blue, which is useless to me because I can't set that any higher than 6. So that goes on the shelf of shame, and that goes back into the bag. And that is the end of the game. So now we go back into scoring. Now this time we both need to score. I'm going to use the same score sheet as last time. You'll see the score is still there, but that's fine. All right, so first 6 points per column that are 5 dice tall. He has 2, I have 1. So he gets 12 points, I get 6. So let's put 12 for green and 6 for me. Pink, purple, whatever color that is. Next, 3 points for the next level. I have 2. He has 1. So he gets 3 and I get 6. 1 per column, 3 dice tall. He's got 1 and I've got 1. So we each get 1. Total number of pips on the top dice. Now, this is where we got easy or medium. So let me score mine first. 6 and 5 is 11, and 6 is 17, and 4 is 21, and 5 is 26. Let's do it backwards to make sure. 5 and 4 is 9, and 6 is 15, 26 for me. Now, if we were scoring the top for easy mode, he would get 6 and 2 is 8, 4 is 12, and 2 is 14, and 5 is 19 points. But we're playing hard mode, so we got to give him the highest numbers. So 5 and 5 is 10, and 6 is 16, and 5 is 21, and 5 is 26. So he ties me on that one. Reward cards. I've got both of these because I've got more blue than he does, so I get 5 points for that. And I beat him to this pattern, so I get 4. So that's 9 for me plus 3 points per 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threes. So that's 15, 20, 4 points for me. And all he gets are the threes. He has nothing there, nothing there. 1, 2, just 2. So he scores 6. Shelf of Shame, we both have 2 dice, so he gets a -4. I get a -4. And now we add up our points. For him, 12 and 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16, plus 26 is 26, 36, 42. Plus 6 is 48, minus 4 should be 44. Let's see that again. 6 and 6, 32, 33, 36, 46, 48, minus 4, yes. He finishes in hard mode with a 44. I've got 6 and 6 is 12, and 1 is 13, and 26 is 39. 49, 59, 63, minus 4 should be 59. Let's try that again. 24 and 26 is 50. 51, 51, and 12 is 63, minus 4 again is 59 points. So I have beaten the hard mode Shembot. Now while we're here, you can basically see all of the components. You've seen all the artwork on all of the cards as we're going through. I love the artwork in this game. These characters are great. I love the theme of this game, the idea that we're collecting board games, fitting them onto our shelf, the concept of the shelf of shame, all of the different sort of board game personalities or, you know, cliched characters in the world of board gaming. It's cool. I love that the games come in these delivery boxes. These delivery boxes are pretty nicely themed. Mech Minute, North Sea shipping. It's worth noting that this game is designed by Shem Phillips, who I believe is that picture right there. And North Sea, Raiders of the North Sea being one of his games. It's cool to see that. Here's a little Cthulhu touch, Elder God, goods. There's a bunch more boxes in the game. This canvas Arkus Galactic mailbag is really, really cool. I don't tend to use these scoring pads, but there's a ton of cards here, and if you do, that's really, really nice to have. These dice are super chunky, super colorful. I love the design of the way that the sort of board game boxes are designed on these dice. Yeah, this game oozes personality, gorgeous, bright, poppy colors. Just everything here is yay in my book. I really, really love the way that this game looks and feels, and the thematic flavor shines. So last thing I want to do while I'm here is have a look at the insert. So this is the bottom of the box. You'll notice that all of the character cards go here, except for if you put them all in here, there's nothing here to cover, so I put one set of character cards here to hold all of this stuff in. These wish lists are personal goals that come in the expansion that fit in here nicely. Here are all the other boxes, including some of the expansion content boxes that go in there as well. This hoarder, again, is part of the expansion. More of the wish list tiles fit under there. All of these bonus scoring cards fit into that as well. And then the scoring pad fits in this sort of slightly wider section above here to hold everything in. Very nicely designed. Down here are some tokens that you can collect with the expansion. These sort of shelf of shames fit in there. And then on top of that, the regular shelves fit in there to hold everything very nicely. Really, really, really nice insert. Fits the expansion perfectly well. Yeah, I love what they've done with the insert. Now, for the dice all come in this tray like this with a very nice lid that snaps on very firmly, holds everything in there, and that fits right on top of the insert in the box. You'll also notice if you look closely, there's lines here with player count, so that's 1 to 2 players, means all of the dice from this side go into the bag. I don't have to worry about counting, I don't have to worry about figuring out. Then you can see the next 3 dice here and here, so I guess not that one. These 3 and those 2 go in for the 3-player game, and then all of the dice go in for the 4-player game. That's just a really, really clever design to put that sort of marking in there, so I don't have to think about anything when I'm setting up. I just grab and I put it in and I play. Really, really, really great insert design. And then again, while we're here, just because that's the box lid, love the art, love the characters, love the colors. This game just, it makes me happy. Meet me back up top and I'll talk about the game itself and whether or not I feel the same way about how the game plays. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you made it to the end of my components overview, you just heard me gush about how much I really love the components in this game, the artwork, the colors, and so on. But does that translate into my feelings for the game itself? For the most part, yeah, it does. I really, really, really do enjoy this game quite a bit. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I'm a big fan of a spatial puzzler. You know I like dice. You know I like dice placement. You know I enjoy these kind of dice drafting games. I've done videos for Sagrada and Role Player in the past, and this is another one of those games that sort of fits into that same sort of genre as Role Player and Sagrada. So to help sort of give my thoughts on this game, I am going to inevitably compare it to those two games because I'm sure a lot of you have played or know about Role Player and Sagrada, but you may never have heard of Shelfie Stacker before, and I want to make sure that you have, because this definitely competes with both of those games. So first, talking about Sagrada. Sagrada tends to be more of a efficiency puzzle. It's more about which dice you're drafting, how you're drafting them, when you're drafting them, and then how you place them on your player board, sort of giving yourself restrictions about where they can be placed, where future dice can be placed, and doing your best to fill in that player board as much as possible, because you're going to lose points for things that you can't fill in, and the more that you play, the harder it gets to fill in, and so on. Meanwhile, Role Player is not that, because Role Player doesn't have any restrictions about which dice can be placed where. Instead, depending on where the dice are placed and the values of the dice and the colors of the dice, you're scoring on different endgame scoring conditions. So that's less of an efficiency puzzle and more of a sort of dice manipulation puzzle, using different kinds of abilities to change the values and the colors of the dice to match certain goals in order to score. And I like both of those for different reasons. I think I tend to lie more on the sort of efficiency puzzle and this brain teaser of how do I make things fit in the way that they need to fit, and how do I draft the right things to sort of push my luck just enough to do well, but not far enough that I completely screw myself over at the end of the game. And Shelfie Stacker sort of falls in the middle, and I'm happy about that. Shelfie Stacker definitely has this efficiency puzzle of drafting the right dice and being able to draft the right dice to be able to fit them into your board so that they don't have to go into the shelf of shame, because that will lose you points at the end of the game, right? You do have to place dice of higher values. You do have to place the same color in a column once you've started a column. So there are these restrictions like Sagrada, and it really pushes me to think about every move that I'm making and not about drafting and then twisting and aiming for different goals. And Role Player sometimes allows me a little flexibility, as if I can't do this thing, then I can manipulate and do something else. And here, those something else's exist, but it still has that restrictive puzzle like Sagrada does. Now, it also has a lot of the same features as Role Player does, meaning in Sagrada you have those tools that you can use once or twice per game, but you're really not going to use them a lot to manipulate the dice. It's more about picking the right dice, pushing your luck, getting lucky, setting up nice combos of dice. Whereas Role Player, you've got every time you place a die, you trigger an ability. You've got items that you can use to trigger different abilities, and it's just about this awesome engine of manipulation of the dice to get them to be what you want them to be, rather than having them already be that way and draft them. Here, it's this cool balance, right? Because the card you're playing gives you the ability, and that ability can be used to play with the draft that you've got in fun ways, but you still have to pay attention to what it is you're drafting. But you're also paying attention, like you would in Sagrada or like you would in Role Player, to what the other player is getting and trying to stop them from getting the right dice that they need. Now, in the Beat Your Own Score solo, that doesn't happen because there is no other player and you're simply trying to prevent the game itself from removing dice that you need. But when you are playing the Shembot, there is a little bit of thought about that, right? You don't want Shembot to score that first to score goal. You don't want Shembot to get more of a certain color than you, because you don't want them to get that color-based goal, right? But the manipulation is there almost to the level of Role Player, right? You don't have all these extra items. You don't have these special abilities that are triggering as you play the dice. But you do have 8 unique cards. Well, 16 unique cards, but 8 per game, that give you a unique power for each card. But on top of that, it adds an initiative. Now, Role Player does have this initiative concept based on which die you draft is going to determine what order you get to go shopping in the store. This isn't quite that. This is the initiative to who's going to draft the dice in what order. And you really have to now add another layer to your thinking about, I need those dice. So do I play a low value initiative card to make sure I get that die? Or do I say, forget it, I could get lucky and get that die if my opponent doesn't take it. But if I play this card that has this power, even if they do take it, I can manipulate this one to be even better than that one. And now I've got a great combo or a great set of dice to place on my board instead. So there's this really cool balance between this drafting efficiency puzzle like you get in Sagrada, and this usage of interesting abilities to manipulate the dice in such a way that they work well for you, like you get in Role Player. But then on top of it, this game plays, you saw each of my playthroughs was about 20-25 minutes. It's a really, really quick game that still gets you all of that feeling of a Sagrada or a Role Player. But the games like Role Player especially is going to be an hour or more to play, which is not a problem. I enjoy Role Player. But if I can get that same feeling and that same brain chug and that same sort of puzzly sensation out of a game that plays at half the time, why not? I think that's great. And the artwork here, I way prefer the way this game looks to either Role Player or Sagrada. So the theming, the art, this sort of mix of both games, the things that I like from both games, the shorter playtime, makes this one of the three probably my favorite. And solo mode especially. Sagrada had a very weak solo mode out of the box. Role Player's got a pretty good solo mode. But this one gives me two options. I've got a beat your own score and an AI. Granted, they don't really play that differently as far as the way the game plays. It just gives me a little variability in how the opponent scores or how the game scores, or even how I score, depending on the two endgame goal cards in the beat your own score, or the real sort of normal setup in the AI that plays more like the multiplayer game. It sort of pushes me to think in slightly different directions, and I like that. Now, some negatives. There's not a ton of variability here. You get 16 cards with different abilities, which is great. You can mix them up randomly so you get a completely different mix of 8 cards each time, which is cool because then you have to think about how the abilities interact with each other in different combinations every time you play, and I like that a lot. But otherwise, the game is sort of going to play out the same way every time. Now, with a game that's only 20-25 minutes and that I really enjoy the puzzle that it's presenting me, and again, I got a different mix of abilities every time, that's fine for me. But you do have to know that going in. This is not going to be a super meaty, deep game, but that's not why you're here. That's not what this kind of game is for. This is a filler, but sort of more board game connoisseur level, right? It takes up that filler up one level and adds in a little bit more of the complexity and the sort of thought processes that a more gamer game would have in it. And I appreciate that. The other thing is, I have almost never lost against the Shembot, even on hard mode, and that's not a problem, right? It's not really about winning or losing for this game. It really is more about me enjoying the puzzle and the solving of the puzzle and the sort of maximization of my own ability every time I play this game. And the Shembot is mostly just there to throw things at me and make me react and change up the way I play a little bit. And talking about the beat your own score mode, my highest score was a 69, which is 1 point less than the highest sort of ranking. And my average is sort of mid-50s, which puts me right in the center of those 5 rankings. So I think that score chart is probably set up correctly. So I mean, I can push to get over that 70 every time, and maybe I will get better as I keep playing. But again, I don't really care about the win or loss in this game, at least for the solo. And it's a lot of fun just to chug through this puzzle and to try and do the best that I can with the random dice that come out of the bag. I have said this before and I'll say it again. I'm a very much tactics over strategy kind of player, and I love this sort of randomness thrown at me. Now what can you do? Here comes more randomness. Now what can you do? I think this card will work with this initiative, or I think this card will work with this ability. But let's see. There's still that element of push your luck, and that sort of anxiety adds some fun to the game as well. So I'm a big fan of this one. Is it going to be the best game ever? No, but it is a whole lot of fun. It looks really great. The theming is really cool. Would I recommend it for solo only? I don't know. Probably. It's a lot of fun to play solo. I definitely recommend it. If you're going to play multiplayer and solo, this is a great game to have. Because I have played it once or twice multiplayer. I look forward to playing it a lot more multiplayer. That obviously adds more interaction, especially with those initiative cards. It really is a whole lot of fun. There is an expansion for this game that came with the Kickstarter version of this game. It doesn't work for solo mode. It's going to add 3 things. Basically, it adds these tiles that give you a secret goal of 4 specific dice you need to have on your player board to score extra points at the end of the game. I have played with that module in multiplayer, and it does add a nice extra layer because it gives me one more way to score based on one more way to draft dice, and I really like that additional scoring goal. It also adds this tile that you get when you place a die on your Shelf of Shame that gives you an additional -2 points at the end of the game, but it actually gives you the ability to take a slight negative hit to watch the other player's initiative before you play a card. So it adds this extra layer to that initiative card puzzle. And then finally it adds this other module that each of the boxes that you're drafting dice from, at the end of the round, whichever box doesn't get drafted, instead of getting placed back into the bag, it stays out. And instead you add these tiles to it that give you abilities like adding +1 or -1 to your die, or some of the other abilities you'd see on the cards. You get these tiles, and as long as those dice stay there every round, they're gaining these tiles. So when finally it does get drafted, you get these extra abilities along with it. So that's kind of cool because it gives you incentives to start taking these dice that maybe weren't that good, but now I can manipulate them in another way. It is a little unfortunate that the solo modes weren't addressed in some way to allow you to use those extra pieces, but it is what it is. The solo is an addition to the multiplayer game. I can't fault them for that. Again, I really enjoy this game solo. I definitely highly, strongly recommend that you do check it out and try it at least if it's something that you think you might be interested in. If you do want to play multiplayer and solo, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. It looks great. It plays real quick and it feels real good to play. Shelfie Stacker. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.